astounding.
You said it. Well, happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Yeah. Same to all you.
Yeah, I here's a little Valentine's Day card I drew with two little silver eels, Anguilla, Anguilla. A little
That's really cute. That is cute.
Eels are strange and wonderful creatures.
Yeah,
But how's everybody doing?
fine.
Yeah, I feel I'm doing okay
Nothing.
too.
Nothing too exciting.
Yeah, I
Nothing too
understand that.
exciting.
But whenever is anything super exciting? Well,
Yeah,
maybe
I
some of
know.
the reveal days for Warhammer Community.
Oh God, I love them. hmm
um, I imagine. I think we talked about it a little earlier in the week, but I guess the is it called Soul Shackle? The new Kill
Yeah,
Team box game. It's like already sold out online. It didn't. It wasn't even up for a day.
this shit never is. I feel. I wonder if because I think they could have also put the new Warcry box up for pre-order. Is that also done?
I doubt as to whether that would have sold out, but maybe it did.
I mean, I feel it's one of those things. Like, if we still want it,
Oh,
our
we could
local
easily
game
get it.
store,
Yeah.
they will probably have like 30 copies of it.
Well, for instance, the game store that I would sometimes go to that's near where I work, they still have,
Yeah.
was it called Into the Dark or whatever? The one with the Kroot
Yeah,
and
something like
shitty
that.
looking Imperial Navy. Well, they certainly have that.
It's so funny that if like the Imperial Navy were good models, like we probably would have purchased that because the terrain's kind of cool. The Kroot are some of
Yeah.
the best models
Yeah, I think they
PW has
are.
released in a while. But and like the Breacher Imperial Navy people, like they should have been cool. Like it's like wow, they're making models of these fun like because what the last time they had something kind of like this was Forge World has some Titan crew and some of those things that have kind of
Mm-hmm.
similar little suits, but
Yeah. No, you're right.
incredible disappointment. Like I guess they have shotguns that are make the RBT's models look good, kind of.
Yeah, I guess that's actually true. I think despite us lambasting the ones the RBTs are carrying, they are in fact quite a bit better than
Yeah,
the
I'm
ones the
pretty sure
Imperial
they're at least
Navy.
better than that.
Yeah, that's neat.
Which is somewhat astounding. Like, so I guess that brings up, like, I don't know if we're gonna actually buy the game. Like, I'd kind of like to, but then again, then we would have that.
Yeah, the big problem with the big problem with buying it is we would have all that shit, and I certainly wouldn't be doing anything with it. Hey, Lifeboat, nice to have you here. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
Um,
like in some sense, wouldn't mind having some of that terrain to paint and assemble, you know.
do you think you
But
would?
I could, I probably would do it. I think I would do it.
Okay. Because I certainly will not have time to work on any of the RBTs, or at least I doubt it. But I guess
Yes,
maybe it's possible. Maybe
so it
it.
probably just doesn't make sense. I mean, I could just try to work on some of the Zone Mortalis stuff that I have. Try to get those stairs. Or at least I feel I would I should try to move on for terrain to painting me maybe some of that Zone Mortalis stuff.
Hmm.
Some of which I feel would be nice maybe for you to paint some because I gave you some of those floor tiles.
I have them
Like I
here.
feel I feel I could paint a bunch, and even if we ended up like, we could always get more wall sections, even though the stuff's expensive.
Yeah.
But with that said, I guess we need to come up with a way to try to paint them, but maybe I'll
Hmm.
try to do that soon.
Yeah.
Just since I've been painting a bunch of terrain, and I think it would work pretty well with the Sector Mechanicus stuff that I've finished
Hmm.
painting. So
I think that's true.
like that would be good, and it would be less stuff.
I wonder for most of that stuff, like all those stairs and stuff you were talking about, I imagine trimming all the components would kind of be a chore.
Yes, that it will be terrible almost.
Well, do you think is the plastic still kind of the cheaper plastic that a lot of the train is made out of, you know?
Mm. I think the Zone Mortalis stuff was better. Maybe it's still a little cheaper, but I do think it was better.
Well, certainly like the tiles, the Zone Mortalis tiles and stuff, that all seems like relatively or kind of like the standard plastic they would use, so that I feel is
I
good.
think the Zone Mortalis stuff might be, but
Yeah.
I almost feel like that should just be the next project, is just try to get some of the stairs, to try to build some and combine it and just mess around with what could be done with the wall sections I've done and
Yeah.
consider painting them.
That's fair.
But I almost should look to see if there's some foam as a way to store some of the terrain. Because
They probably did make some, but it was probably a long time ago.
I kind of feel the Sector Mechanicus stuff is just too weird. But I could see there being foam for the Zone Mortalis stuff just
Yeah,
because they're
that's true.
such regular little sections that sort of slot together.
And they keep releasing and re-releasing games that have it. Or mostly the same stuff.
Oh, that's the Gallows Stark stuff. They do have stuff for that. I meant the Zone Mortalis wall sections.
Oh, yes, shit, they're different. You're right. Okay.
Nice
Yeah.
to have you here, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Lifeboat.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess I just like to keep painting some of the terrain that I have. Guess I have
Yeah.
some of this from the Kill Team Rogue Trader thing. I have some terrain for that I guess I could.
None of that looks like it would be fun to paint. That stuff is certainly made out of the cheaper plastic.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, so I guess one thing that we can talk about a little bit, since our podcast with Gary, we, based on an inspiration from that, we took it upon ourselves to get some old Rogue Trader Space Marines. And so,
Mhm.
I know, Eric, you've been putting in a fair amount of effort trimming and stripping paint off of some of the ones we were able to acquire. Um, they're pretty interesting models, and they're I feel there's very little consistency amongst them. That's the biggest thing I would say about them. They vary
Yeah.
their head sizes and feet sizes and how tall they are, all that stuff varies tremendously. It is sort of
Yeah,
interesting though.
sadly.
Here, you also have like an older Eldar Ranger model, and they're actually, I guess, if the Marines were standing up tall, they'd be about the same height as the Ranger. Yeah, probably, but they're similar in height, which is a little interesting. Which I guess you were always sort of led to believe that the Eldar was supposed to be kind of like tall and lanky and stuff, and in this case, that sort of still fits.
Yeah.
And in this in
Yeah.
particular, the Marine in the center has one of the Eldar Shuriken catapults, which is kind of great.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, but as you said, like they are so weird,
They
like
really
in
are.
proportion and everything's different size. Like it's just such weird stuff.
Yeah, so like some of it I don't know, like I'm half tempted to like go in with like green stuff or Milliput to like slightly modify or tweak some things to make it such that like say both of their feet are the same size and stuff like that. I don't know. I probably
I think
wouldn't do too much.
doing it a little, I don't think would take away from
Yeah,
the
I don't
spirit.
honestly, I even doing some of that stuff, I honestly don't think anyone would even notice.
No.
I think people would struggle to notice.
Yeah.
Oh, so I just looking around. There's Feldhair. It's a company that makes foam trays as well. I
Mm-hmm.
think I got some for Blood Bowl, the newer edition of Blood Bowl,
Yeah.
and they have kind of a softer foam that I think is better than Battle Foam. Looks like they have a nice little tray for wall sections
Okay.
that I might have to buy, and they have a separate one for like the stairs too.
Okay.
Because even it's not, I don't know. It would be nice to have some place to put all the stuff and
Yeah.
more easily transfer the stuff around.
And particularly like once if you actually end up painting all the stuff, it would be nicer to it would be nice to have a slightly better way to um store the stuff and or transport, as you said. Yeah, but these old Rogue Trader Marines are pretty interesting. Like I've sort of had fun looking around on eBay, kind of seeing what's available, and there's certainly they released a lot of them, and I feel that the release of them was certainly a little before our time, and so I feel I'm not that familiar with a lot of them, and so it's kind of neat to see some more of them. Um, like some of the first models we got were some of these Rogue Trader-esque Marines, but I think they were slightly more modern, or not really modern, but they were later cast around the time of like the second edition of the game rather than Rogue Trader.
Hmm. I have a but. God, I've been spending a lot of time trying to strip models.
Yeah.
I'm using Simple Green. It's kind of awful. I mean, like, it's not that awful, but the paint just doesn't come off that well. And
Yeah.
like, I essentially have to go in with like an X-Acto knife and try to pick it off of like literally every goddamn detail.
Yeah, well, so
And
the Eldar model there, you strip the paint off of that one, right? And that looks, I feel they
yes.
look remarkably good. And they had a lot of paint on them.
Well, and that was like a lot of time. I have two others that I'm trying to strip off, and like I just can't get some of the paint off. Like it's just not coming off. Like I will need to like literally almost like cut it and scrape it off, and it's
Yeah.
just terrible to do. Whereas some of them, like with an X-Acto knife or whatever, you can just kind of lightly press on it and you can flake it off.
Yeah.
But some it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And for
Well,
the guy with the shuriken catapult, the Marine, at first I didn't think it was coming off, and I was worrying if perhaps it was like an enamel or something
oh.
that it didn't work on. But it ended up working.
Yeah, I mean,
But
they
now
look
I'm trying to get
quite
it off
good.
the backpack, which
Okay.
is a plastic, and it doesn't work nearly as well.
Okay. Yeah,
But
okay.
it it's somewhat working.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll be able to.
Get there eventually with enough time and effort.
Yeah. That's right.
I assume we could find other things. I think one of the things why people sort of like Simple Green is it's much more environmentally safe than like a lot of the other stuff you could use to strip paint off. Like it's not like your standard chemistry lab organic solvent or something.
Yeah, and I mean it seems fun. It's not like because when I was younger, I remember using like lacquer thinner and stuff, and
Mhm.
like it was always pretty awful.
And that will also fucking destroy plastic and other stuff.
Yeah. So it's good in that sense, but I really dislike doing it because most of it
Mhm.
like just doesn't come off well.
Yeah, you have to actually go in there yourself and do a lot of hands-on work.
Yeah.
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 Well, regardless, it's cool to see that you've been continuing to work on them. I guess maybe sometime soon I'll look over them too a little bit and see if there's any sculpting work I think we should do on them.
Maybe by that time I'll have gotten the paint off of the backpack.
Yeah, that's true. I need to look around with some of the stuff I have. There's a chance I might actually have another one of the old rotator plastic backpacks or something. I might. I'll have to look. If I did, that would be
Okay.
great. Though I think some of that stuff I have over the years given away to other people. Yeah. Okay, also in addition to all these little Rogue Trader models, I guess Eric, you've been doing some sort of, I would say, collaboration work with Modern Synthesis, right?
Yeah. He a while back sculpted these like kind of I don't know, maybe large Carnifex like claws.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a long time back. We made like a 2-part silicon mold that was okay. But because it was a 2-part mold, you'd get like mold lines going down the center of all of it, and it would go in all the little
Mm-hmm.
gribbly details and whatnot. And I decided to try to remake or try to make a mold like a single piece mold.
Yeah.
We had not done that before. This would be like the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up with some Gundam runners making like a little thing to suspend the piece on.
Yeah, like over a
And
plastic cup. Yeah.
yeah, such that
You
I
could
could
pour like a mold directly into like a solo cup.
yeah, and so that's and is ended up what I did. It was kind of I don't know, it was a lot of silicone you had to make
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know.
Well, it is sort of nice because normally when you pour those molds, you mix the two halves in one of the cups and then you pour it out of the cup. And like, there's
Yeah.
just no way to get it all out of the cup.
Well, that was part of the problem because I wanted to degas it and
Uh
I
huh.
needed to make enough silicone to fill the whole fucking cup.
Yeah, okay. I see that.
So
Yeah,
I
that's
ended
kind
up
of
putting it between 2 cups,
okay. Yeah, so
degassing it in 2, and then kind of pouring it back and
mm-hmm.
forth to continue to
Okay.
mix it. And it was kind of terrible because then I had to pour it out into the
Mm-hmm.
actual cup I was using with the plastic and the piece suspended in it.
Yeah,
And it
okay.
didn't fill up the whole way, or I didn't think it was going to be enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like 90% of the way there, but didn't cover everything. So then I had to just like tried to scrape the cups out of the silicone,
Mm-hmm.
remaining silicone, and was eventually able to get what I thought was enough, which turned out to be enough, but I don't know. It
Well,
was a little tense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one thing that would make I feel in the future would make it takes a long time for the silicone rubber to actually solidify. So like if you didn't make enough, you could pretty easily just make more.
Admittedly, the curing time for this particular silicone is like only an hour and a half, it says.
Okay. Well, a lot of the
So
ones
it
that
still
I had
takes less
used,
than that.
it
Or I mean, it takes more than that. I'm sorry. Like so, I didn't have to go quick, but I still felt like time was of the essence. But
yeah.
mainly because the stuff I poured, yeah, like wow, like yeah, I have it here. Here's the solo cup.
Mhm.
But and then once it was done, and you should be able to see it here. I had to with an X-Acto knife like cut
Mhm.
and pull the piece out,
Yeah.
and that's what I ended up doing. And I cut an additional little hole for
Mhm.
the top.
When you
But
inject like resin or whatever in there to do a cast, do you like use rubber bands to keep the thing closed, or do you to put it in
use
another
one.
cup?
I
Okay.
used one to keep it at the top,
Yeah.
and it's not the major problem. But yeah, pulling it apart. Wow, the top of this silicone mold is like
Mhm.
I don't know, a centimeter,
Oh
two
boy.
centimeters.
Okay.
Like it was close to not having
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. Well, I think having it like a single piece mold, I feel has makes almost everything about it like so much easier. The
Does
casting
it's a lot
process.
easier.
And there's
Well, and even
also
the process, like I guess so. I had to because this little thing doesn't suspend the piece down that low. I ended up take the cup I cast it in. I like cut some of it off such that
okay.
it sat lower.
Yeah.
Um, but it was enough and it worked. Like I feel if I would do it a little bit more and such, I'd probably get better at it. And
Yeah.
with the single piece like that, just doing in a cup, it's like so much easier. You don't have to
Mhm.
push the pieces into clay. You don't have to build a Lego containment facility and
And then
like stuff
yeah.
like that.
And once you have the mold as well, you don't have to worry that like, oh, am I arranging the two pieces perfectly together right and all that
Yeah,
shit.
because
Um
as it is, I cut it angled. Like there's only a very slight mold line, and it's not
mhm.
even really going over any of the like the pane details.
Mhm.
So like it's pretty nice. There
That's good.
are on the like these little crests on the back,
Yeah.
like some slight bubbles sometimes appear there, but
That's it.
which
Have
it's
you
since you can't. What
add
was
other
that?
ports and stuff to try and make that better? Or I
I
guess you
it would be
conceivably
hard
could, but you would have to um
build it onto the
build
piece,
the ports and stuff onto the piece before you cast the or before you
and then
pour the yeah.
that would be hard because like when you're pouring the silicone and it's shifting around and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I think you could do it.
Have you talked with Modern Synthesis to anything after you've made all this stuff?
Yeah, he seems to think it looks good. I might send them to him, a bunch to him to see what he thinks of it.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad that you making that work and making a better one than I had made at the time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's cool. Um I guess in terms of I'm still working on painting that same like Genestealer neophyte. Um I'm getting to the point where I'm nearing the completion. Like I started some initial work painting their skin. So the main things that I still have to do is finish painting his skin, and then there are a few other detail work. Like I need to do more work on like the gloves and like
Yeah.
some of his sleeves and stuff. But um, most of the detailing and stuff is pretty much there. But yeah, so this model's taken a lot longer to paint than I was sort of envisioning they would. I mean, I sort of there were a lot of reasons why I hadn't tried to paint the model earlier, and yeah, I feel so some of my reservations and stuff were
Look at the
they were
detail.
true. They were quite true, and I'll be glad when
there's
I'm
just
done with
so
the
much.
model.
I think it would probably be easier if you were painting a second one, just because like this stuff's more defined.
Yeah, like
But
I've kind of worked out schemes and all of that stuff, so that that's good. But
even still, there's just so much stuff.
yeah, there's a lot.
It's an interesting thought. Can you ever imagine like, so we obviously got these neophytes probably shortly after they were released.
It was
The
like a year or
GNCA
two
call.
after they were initially released. We didn't get them too quickly.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, like, we'll probably never build another one of these, or
It's very
it's almost
unlikely.
it's almost hard to imagine like converting multiple models from a kit that we buy.
You extended his torso, right? A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. There was like a little spacer between his like legs and his body. Like not a huge one.
But like, have there been any kits that we've purchased that have actually converted multiple models?
Like the resin deathcore grenadiers, like I've used
Yeah.
nearly all of the models from that squad. That's probably
Yeah.
the best. The one Warcry warband for the new Red
No,
Church
that's fair.
Necromunda warband. I've
Yeah.
used. I think
Well, when we
like
get the new
two.
RBTs, they're gonna convert a lot of them.
Well, yeah. So there's a chance if and when we get them, I would convert maybe
A
like
couple.
5 of them.
Ooh, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. But no, you're right. Rarely do I ever convert more than like one
Well, you
model.
got those new Cadian Command Squad guys. I'm sure you're gonna convert at least 4 of them.
Maybe one.
I could see maybe 2 of them, right? You could potentially build one as like a scale thing, just convert a las rifle,
I mean, that's true. Though I
and then
was given like the
convert.
free model, the
Uh-huh.
free Cadian, and I almost feel like if I do
That
anyone,
would be
I'd
the
use
one.
that one.
Well,
Yeah.
I would still, even though it's not quite the same, I would still kind of couple that together with the same thing. Like you're
Yeah.
using a range of like the troop like models, because the one with the um scribe like thing you could probably convert for the church. And
Mhm.
admittedly, I feel if you converted the one you got for free, could also be kind of a church member, and it's just like the warband has all the different core troop choices from different ranges that have found their way into
Yeah, I mean, it
the
certainly
Church of the Red
should.
Athenaeum. Towards that end, I think recently, maybe they're releasing a new battle tome for the Kharadron Overlords, so those flying dwarves,
Mm-hmm.
and they showed a new model of someone with like almost like a librarian like character with some books and stuff. It's just like, if that model was actually neat, it would have been sort of neat to convert something like that to have like kind of a halfling type character from the church, since they have different types of
Mm-hmm.
like not just humans or different abhumans and so forth. But the
Well, I mean,
model is so
yeah.
shit.
I guess that's what the little like
The little
halfling
guy.
dude with the
Yeah.
shotgun.
I'm just saying, like, to have even more different types of
Yeah.
different looking models, but unfortunately, the model looks like trash. Or, I mean, parts of him look
His
kind of
face
good,
looks
but
kind of good.
yeah, I
Or
think the face was good, but there's just so much dumb crap. But I don't know. Regardless,
oh, yeah, here he is. Honestly, I feel that little dude you were talking about
hmm
looks a little bit better than a lot of the Kharadron
I mean, I think a
overlords.
bunch like, well, I guess maybe what I'm to say because I generally like this model, but like you'd have to remove almost everything that makes the model unique. You
Oh
know,
yeah, like it's
like you'd
not
remove.
it's not usable for really anything.
You'd have to like if you removed all the books, all the backpack stuff, then it would
Trimmed off
just look
all
like
the
kind of.
armor.
I think the armor's
I mean,
okay.
it's okay, but it doesn't fit with
Oh yeah, no,
like anything.
yeah.
I like his scarred face. Like that is the best part of the model. He's a rules lawyer. Oh, wait, here are more pictures of his.
So actually, the Blood Hunt Warcry thing is not sold out.
Oh, really? That makes
No,
sense. People don't want
it
that.
looks like you can now buy the Warcry band that has Totally Not Panicking,'s favorite model of last year, the walking dude
Oh, the like Nurgle-esque
with the blow.
cultist
Yeah.
with the blow darts and stuff.
So you can buy them now, it seems like. Or
Yeah.
maybe you could for a while. I don't know.
Were people excited that Warhammer Community had a they had like a Black Library celebration thing? And maybe they announced some new books and a Space Marine character from something. I
I think
don't.
he might be from that book series. Hell, I don't remember. They started a book series kind of at the beginning of the A Dawn of Fire. I think they started it kind of at the beginning of eighth when the rift
Okay.
opened up and all that, and
Mm-hmm.
people were bitching about that the covers look kind of like a Star Wars movie poster
Okay.
or kind of dumb,
Mm-hmm.
which I mean I can get that to some extent, but I think a lot of it was more just people bitching like there shouldn't be a dark-skinned ultramarine, so it's more just racist bullshit.
Okay. Yeah.
Because all that said, the covers are pretty good. I mean, they are a little busy and like just cramming
But at
shit
least the different
together, but
aspects look, they're
look
not bad. They're better than your
cool.
standard Black Library book cover.
Yeah, yeah.
But this Space Marine character, talk about an uninspired model. My god.
Do we want to talk about it?
We don't really want to talk
Yeah.
about it. But holy
His
shit.
arms seem really long.
Yes, and he's bad.
He's shooting the plasma pistol up in the air. I think that's neat.
That's awesome.
It's a good example of having a loincloth that has to make him stand bow-legged that he wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
have been doing otherwise.
Boarding patrols inbound for Gene Stealer, Cults, Death God, Chaos Demons, and the Adeptus Mechanicus. That's so cool.
Oh, actually, I mean, we don't have to talk about it too much because everyone talks about it and bitches about prices all the time. But they're doing their annual price increase, and
It
it's pretty bad. It sounds like the they said the average price increase is a 6%, which sounds okay, but
mm-hmm.
that I think that 6% it's lower because like they didn't raise some of like the bullshit stuff that people wouldn't buy by that much,
Mm-hmm.
such that they could lower the what they said was the average price because like the Dark Eldar, a lot of their kits like their witches and Dark Eldar warriors and stuff, I think are
Mm-hmm.
going up 19%.
Oh my gosh.
And a bunch of like the main Tyranid stuff, I think
Mm-hmm.
he is going up like 19%.
Oof.
So it,
That's
it
pretty
must be
bad. Oh yeah, here's
pretty
the
bad.
pricing update. Everything you need to know.
Yeah, so I
What's
think they aren't as transparent there as
Yeah, the starter sets aren't changing yet because they want to get people into it with
But I'm pretty sure they
fairly
say
cheap
starter
money.
sets. Like that's not because they're battle. What are they called? Like they have like little starter sets that are like 3 units and a
Mm-hmm.
character or whatever. I forget what their battle forces or
Yeah,
something.
probably Battle
They're
Force.
going up in price.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and they say here that it's average about 6%. And they give an example of a sister battle squad. It's going from like 36 pounds to 37.50 pounds. Like it would have been more. Would have
so
been a
that was
little.
just a that was a choice pick. It was like an example of one of the lowest things.
Yeah.
Well, they're not telling you. They're like, our spray paints are going up, or like some of our brushes are going up a small amount, and we have so many of those that like we can lower the average
Hmm.
price. Yeah, it's just very disingenuous.
Well, you
Like, 'cause
should never. There, do they say they're the paintbrushes? Oh, Stan, yeah. You should never buy any Citadel paintbrushes. That's
they're shit.
yeah, that's one of
Which
the big things that I could tell everyone don't buy them. They're all
I have a
garbage.
I have a Citadel small base brush that I've used a lot for the terrain. Like it's completely shot and destroyed.
Well,
It's
yeah,
my
they
like
don't. Even if
mixing
you try
brush.
and even if you try and
Keep them
take
nice.
even if you try and take care of the Citadel brushes, they do not last long.
Yeah, they're crap.
So you could buy a cheaper brush that would be a lot nicer. So yeah, don't. I
Yeah, but
think
yeah, I'm
most
pretty
people
sure
already
the
know that.
yeah, like the Dark Eldar, like going up 19%, a lot of their units.
That's
Like yeah,
bad.
so I think like a lot of the stuff that people actually need to use to build armies are
Hmm.
going up more like 10% or more.
Yeah. Oh, I guess there was another thing that people were up in arms about for this last week, the Heresy Thursday.
Yeah.
They had something showing that they're going to release these new resin like torso and heads for the plastic contemptor dreadnoughts, which um how they presented it makes you think like, oh, that's cool, look at these cool new torsos and stuff. And but what's actually happening is they're just getting rid of all the old resin contemptor dreadnoughts for the different chapters because they already sold these things, but in addition to the bodies and the heads, they also had separately detailed legs to go with them. So
And like the shoulder pads. Are these
yeah,
the same as those old kits just without that extra stuff? Do we know?
they look pretty similar. So I think they pretty
Okay.
much are the same. Like I would have to go and look more closely at them. It says, oh, what does it say? However, this does mean that the original Resin Legion Contemptor Dreadnoughts, and they do say, which have Legion specific shoulders, legs, and other details, are not long for this world. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you'll be able to buy them from China recast or stuff, so it's okay.
yeah, so it would be interesting to see if any of these are any different, but I would imagine they're pretty much exactly the same. I think in all truth, I don't really think it's much of a loss. Um,
No, I don't
because
think
I
it
would
is. I don't.
rather have the plastic components. But that being
Yeah.
said, I think for most of the chapters, I would rather just have a standard plastic entire dreadnought than any of this resin shit. Um,
Yeah, which is the best looking one, do we think?
um,
Emperor's Children
Emperor's
or
Children is the best.
is probably the best. Then maybe the Imperial Fist, just because
Yeah,
the
but the
style are
Imperial
pretty
Fist
different.
is essentially nothing was done to it.
Yeah,
Or very
yeah,
little. Like, the Emperor's Children one actually looks a little different and is sort of interesting.
yeah.
The worst is either the White Scars
Like
or
stars.
the Sons of Horus.
I mean, the Dark Angels isn't much better, but
The Dark Angels has the
Dark Angels.
candles though.
It's bad.
But
it's
like
pretty
the
bad.
candles look bad. The angel on the front looks terrible. The wings look really bad.
How could they make like a little robed angel look so bad? Like I find that sort of hard to believe.
Yeah, it
Because
doesn't
you
look
just think
good.
of like I just think of like Magic the Gathering. Like whenever they have like a little robed dude on a flying on a
A specter or
dragon,
something.
some
Yeah.
sort of specter, it's like this shit's the best thing ever.
Yeah, like that
It's
looks
so
cool.
cool.
Here,
And
no. They botched it. Yeah, so people were upset about that. And there was certainly like there was so much talk from like a lot of the heresy crowd, like berating people and saying like, oh, there are all these people on social media saying like this is a great new release, but what they don't know, it's like, was that even true? Like I mean maybe it was, but like it's clear the reason they're doing this is because they can't maintain all of the molds and all the stuff they have. They haven't been able to maintain their molds and stuff for years. Like seemingly every few months, they're getting rid of droves and droves of the releases. Like some of the best ranges of models you haven't been able to buy for years. So,
yeah.
yeah, I would be tempted to say you're not missing much.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Oh, they also showed some more pictures of the newer like Imperial Guard Rough Riders.
God, I don't like them very much.
Yeah,
I mean, I
like
guess it's fun that they went back to that old design, I suppose. But
I would
ugh,
I would really say like if you really wanted Rough Riders and stuff, that you'd be better off just buying the cool Simon Egan sculpted ones for the Death Guard. Mind you, I guess they're all pretty small and they won't necessarily fit with all of the newer ranges of stuff. These, I think overall they look okay, but to me
yeah.
it's just I feel there's something a little off and they don't really gel that well together with me. Like again, they still sort of look like their heads are overly small and they're overly like tall, like the riders themselves. That and a
The
lot of the
horses'
horses,
boobs are really big and they look kind of weird.
and like most of them, a lot of the horses, like only one or two of the legs are actually contacting the base, which I guess they were trying to make them more dynamic and stuff, but like I feel that ends up just making them like I wouldn't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
okay. But I struggle to see people getting that excited to get them unless they're like
I
actually good
almost
in
like the
games.
older ones better.
I do. That's not to say that like these new ones, I mean they're certainly well sculpted. It's just I don't think everything doesn't work together that well. And they also tried to rework their like hunting lances and other stuff and give them more options, and I never really liked their hunting lances that much. Like the idea that they have like an explosive tip and like all that stuff is a little. I always thought it was a
It was
little
never too
stupid.
cool. Yeah.
I feel maybe the only thing that you could say was kind of neat about this is you could probably just online buy a whole bunch of the heads and use them to make like a slightly different looking Imperial Guard like regiment and stuff. Mind
It's
you,
true.
you would
It's already
probably
bigger than the Canadian heads.
you wouldn't there probably aren't that. I guess do they show the sprues? They do. Let's see how many heads they give you. Probably not that many. Well, they're actually quite a lot. Wait, actually, that's the back of the head, isn't it?
I can't tell.
There are at least 8, I think. So that's honestly okay. That's okay.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Is that our boy Alex in the chat? Tabletop Wizards.
Oh, yeah.
Well designed, but lacking character. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like everything,
That is.
a lot about them just kind of looks off. They do have some like nice details, like they look like some of them have like little like radios and stuff on them, and like they certainly put a lot of effort into them. And a lot of them have like little like las rifles and stuff holstered on the side of the horses. Like all of that's
Mhm.
cool. Like it's neat. They actually are carrying along some equipment. A lot of them have like holstered sidearms, and
Yeah.
so like all of that's kind of neat.
I can't help but like, what if they were Talaran? I wish they made the Talaran versions. I mean, obviously they wouldn't have because they don't
Yeah.
have plastic Talaran ones, but they were always cooler looking.
Yeah, I like them.
But it, yeah, is what it is, I guess.
I was Modern Synthesis had a like a special stream yesterday where I was working on some Dreadnought or whatnot. Um, and in that, briefly they talked about the new plastic Horse Heresy jet bikes.
Yeah.
And I feel one of the more interesting things about them, apparently they, I even find them. Yeah, I think this might be the first plastic example where they actually give you some plastic versions of like the Volkite Charger pistols and some of that other stuff, which I guess people could be excited about. But so, and
Look
if
at
you
that.
also look at them on the side of the bike, up in the front, there's actually like a holstered chainsword for each of them, which is kind of neat. So I feel I would argue for most of this stuff, all the stuff is so horrendously oversized. Like I don't see why you would want to use them anyway. But if you're big into using all the official GW shit, I guess this gives you an opportunity to get plastic versions of all that stuff.
Yeah. To play devil's advocate, they do look like a blast to paint. I suppose, but I don't know. I feel if you like painting models, they're probably all kind of fun to paint. I mean, not that's not 100% true, but
Bland Space Marines maybe aren't. The
Yeah.
Rough Riders have all sorts of interesting detail and stuff.
but then you have to paint those details.
Well, see, I feel that's a
That's
prime
the
example of a
point.
kit that have a lot of cool little interesting details that most people will never even notice or see.
People could probably do something cool with them.
Yeah.
They could, I suspect.
Oh, I guess that you can pre-order these like this little like skink warband or whatever. Like I kind of like them.
I think they're great.
The little like pterodactyl pterodon things, they're cool too.
They are cool.
I feel like that is the first look that maybe they're finally making the lizard men cool.
Well, yeah, and
They always should have been.
yeah, they should have been like the coolest.
Mhm. I mean, the new plastic Saurus warriors, I think, look pretty good. They were revealed
Yeah,
at
they
the
do look cool.
LVO. So yeah, that's nice because I feel the lizard men have been kind of neglected for a long time.
Yeah, I remember when we first got into the hobby. Um, I always thought the lizard men were cool, and like looking at them since, I think most of the models aren't as cool as they could have or should have been.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
been
they
true
are
for a long
not,
time.
sadly. Like a lot of the plastic, a lot of the plastic skink or like the skinks aren't as neat as you would expect them to be. I mean, maybe
The old like monopart plastic skinks and plastic Saurus warriors, I think, were good.
Yeah, I think
yeah,
they
And then
actually
they
came in the
made the
box game.
multi-part ones, and
they
I
aren't
didn't
as
think
good.
they were that good.
But the little Warcry skinks, the chameleon ones, they're really nice. Like they're fabulous. And the little pterodactyls, like that's what you want
Yeah.
in lizard men. And admittedly, they make that other Underworlds warband that their skinks look a bit better, and this one Saurus warrior in there look quite good.
Mm-hmm.
And like I guess so, the more modern sculpts, I guess, are all going more towards that style, which is nice.
Gosh, finding
Okay.
anything on the community side is a chore.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they also showed like they're making like a new plastic slan model for them that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I kind of like a lot of the older models. I like too. Look, here's like a little winged snake that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like the old slan.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was one of the older models that was actually good.
Oh
I
wait,
feel
here,
like they
yeah, I
keep
finally found
remaking
him.
that.
They do keep
The
remaking
Saurus
that.
warriors look good.
Yeah, those
Um,
Saurus Wars are so much better than the old ones.
I do feel
I,
the only thing that I think is a little weird, their eyes are so close to the front of their heads. They like look like one of the more modern like American designs of like Godzilla and stuff, which always I thought looked a
Yeah.
little weird.
well, they did the same thing for like the Tyrannosaurus Rex
Yeah,
like
like the Carnosaur thing.
dinosaur,
Yeah.
Carnosaur. Yeah, they make it like so cool, but then the eyes are so far forward that it's sort of dumb. Which, admittedly, that's why you converted the one to look.
Yeah. I resculpted it a long time ago. But
Can we
still.
find pictures of Dread Whisper?
Hmm.
Like that takes us back to our imaginative days in 2016.
Was that when it was? Was it 2016?
Yeah, because it was the year of the Pilgrim, just at the end of the year.
Yeah, right after the Pilgrim event. Okay. Did we never even show pictures of the paint? I don't even know. This was a
Maybe
long
not.
time ago. Fuck.
Did we not have painted pictures? Oh
There
man.
are somewhere on the website.
Okay. That was back like, yeah, shit, we couldn't take pictures at all.
Yeah, they look awful. Like, you can't even fucking see what I did. That's bad. Maybe there's another. Is there another
If-
post? Oh my god. Maybe there isn't. It's
I
kind of
think in the
pathetic.
year in review post for that year or something, there's a painted picture of him.
That's fair. And some of the game things probably have some pictures of him killing shit. But
Oh yeah, so like the year in review, there's the painted picture. Yeah, so like I think even a lot of them, if they had an eye, it was right up at the front, or they just didn't have an eye at all.
that, I think Dread Whisper was the first model I have ever painted.
Damn.
Afterwards, I like painted like some shitty Raptor Space Marines, but that was when I started to try to paint. So it's kind of hard to believe it's really been that long.
That that first year was probably the most successful, or at least in terms of had the biggest output that like I've ever had
Yeah.
in a year. Like it was wild. Like
Yeah.
holy shit. Like I painted the little Necron 99 model. I built and painted that model. Like holy shit. Built and painted
Yeah, it was a
that
good
one.
year.
I built and painted like all 5 of the
RBTs.
yeah. I then built and painted this one Kingdom Death model like a challenge. I
It's nice to see Kingdom Death is all about the wide poses too.
yeah, they love that too. And then I built that entire like Pilgrim Warband. Like holy shit.
Yeah, it's wild.
Like so I probably painted like close to 20 models that year. Holy shit. Now I feel like it's a pretty good year if I paint like 5 or 6. That's bad. God. I guess as soon as there's like some events or something that are going to that is what typically drives you to really pull out all the stops and try and do stuff.
It's true.
Um
Otherwise, it's just hard to. There's always stuff gets in the way, and
yeah.
So, friends, I think I need to go to bed.
That's fair.
yeah.
I mean, it's been real, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. Thanks for joining in.
Mhm.
I mean, Eric, Adam, you don't have to leave, but like, I'm out
Yeah.
of here. Be well, everybody.
See you, Greg.
Yeah.
ya.
See ya. Yeah, I don't know how much other stuff we have to talk about.
Probably not a whole lot. It would be interested to go back and look at like our reviews for each of the different years and just kind of figure out like roughly like oh how many models did each of us paint and all that other stuff. It would be interesting to kind of see how it goes from year to year.
Mm-hmm.
I feel every year I sort of feel like I didn't accomplish anything.
It can be hard. I mean, I guess when the Mordheim event happened, we finished a bunch.
Yeah, so that was probably the next time that I did a fair amount of things.
And it was after 2016 that I started to actually paint and do stuff a bit more. So I had
I
some
feel, you've had a pretty good track record and pace of painting models since you like really got into it. And now I feel you've sort of hit more of a stride and you have a better sense of how you want to paint or like to paint stuff. So
Mhm.
that's good. Well, I should sometime in the next few days finish painting this Gene Stealer Cultist model, so that'll be the first model of the year. So that'll be good. It only took 2 months. But whatever. It is what it is. You can't.
Oh, I guess we could say, is this up? Um, Mira Manga, or that's
Oh yeah,
Mira
that's true.
goes by on uh YouTube and so forth. She's a wonderful editor at 28 magazine. She recently created a Patreon and has been making some videos and such, but she has three pretty great videos talking about Mordheim.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one talking with Stuart Cresswell about Mordheim, and he's someone who actually has an article on Volume 5, 28, which is coming out relatively soon, talking about all the different supplements for Mordheim, like
Mm-hmm.
unofficial ones that were created. And so she talks with him for a while, talks with Arbiter Ian, another YouTuber that she has been on his channel a few times doing some book reviews, mainly Eisenhorn related stuff.
Yeah.
But excitingly, she also talked with Tumas Piran, the creator of Mordheim,
Yeah. No, it's a
and
really
that was
nice
pretty fun.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're at all interested in like having another like YouTube channel with stuff to watch, certainly check out her channel. And particularly, yeah, the more recent videos about Mordheim. I know in the past few years, I feel more and more people are getting excited and getting back into Mordheim, and it's kind of a nice place to start to kind of get some different perspectives on the game. And I know up until this point, I don't Mira hasn't actually played a game of it yet, so she kind of has a
Uh,
different perspective on the whole thing as well. So that I think is in itself
yeah,
also
I don't think
interesting.
she's really played any Games Workshop games other than what, like Tyranid Hunt, like one of those shitty
Tyranid attack or
bar-
whatever. That
yeah, like kind of a
yeah.
Barnes and I don't know. I guess this was before the Barnes and Noble things, but one of those bad like pseudo games.
I think in Tyranid attack that was one of the ones that it's almost infamous in how stacked it is against the Imperial like player. Even
Uh-huh.
more so than like Space Hulk and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
But that's a good shout out.
Yes, so I would suggest people to go on over and give her stuff a follow. But yeah, she's great.
Hmm.
Yeah, is also on Patreon and
Yeah.
doing a bunch of interesting things. So worth looking into.
Hmm.
But it'll be interesting to see if she plays Mordheim at some point.
No, that's true. Well, yes, I don't know. Maybe we don't really have a whole lot of
Yeah.
other stuff to talk about.
Any questions from the chat?
I guess one of the other things that we need to, Eric, I guess we need to start working on continuing our post of some of our favorite like hobbyists of last year.
You're right. Yeah.
Because we've already pushed it off a little longer than we've had in the past, but we need to
Yeah.
we need to get on that pretty quick.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I guess we've started the post. So that's
Sorry.
something.
Sorry, Dave. I don't know. does the channel, maybe it has like an opening video that starts. It's really loud or something. Sorry about that.
Oh. Yeah. But yeah, so that's something that's going to be coming up, I feel, relatively soon on the blog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, wow, the month's already half over.
Yeah,
What do we
that's
have to
true.
show for it? I
Um,
guess the podcast with
it's been a pretty
whole
good
team.
month so far, honestly. We'll have the little Gene Stealer cultist will be finished soon.
Hmm.
So that's good. And
Yeah. That,
I guess you've also done, as we showed earlier in the stream, you started doing some work on some of these little rogue trader marines.
yeah, maybe
Based
we can write a post showing a set of them when they're like ready to be painted
Yeah, honestly,
or
I think that
something.
could be kind of nice because I feel a lot of these older models, there are a bunch of interesting aspects and details of them that I feel, yeah, it's rare that you see people talking about the stuff. Um, and
Yeah.
if you're really wanting them to look nice, like you do have to put a fair amount of effort into some of them, fixing some of the small like mistakes and other stuff on them. And not all of them were
Like
necessarily cast that
miscast.
well either. Yeah.
Yeah, working on metal models kind of sucks. Like cutting, trying to get off mold lines, cutting them off with a
Mhm.
blade, and then trying to sand it down and smooth them, and all that is just kind of a pain.
Yeah. That's certainly
But
true.
it's still fun.
Yeah, so I
It's
think that could be kind of fun to show some of the things and
yeah,
talk about it. Like I know like all the models and stuff that Kiri makes and paints and shows, like he sort of makes a lot of the stuff in some respects make it look easy.
so it
um
makes them look better than they probably look.
yeah, because he also has a pretty rapid pace with assembling and painting the models and stuff, which kind of gives you the impression that
Yeah.
yeah, it's not that hard. Like, oh, they're just single piece models, stuff like that. That I feel
Hmm.
isn't really the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess yeah, maybe we can let people go enjoy the rest of I guess Valentine's Day. It's soon over, but hopefully it's been okay. Thanks everyone for listening to us ramble on about models. It's been fun. So keep on enjoying the hobby, stay safe and stay healthy, and we will talk to you again soon. Till next time,
See everybody.
over and out.